Welcome grade 1 to lesson 2, light and materials.
This is Faris. He has a lot of different materials including wood, plastic, glass, wool, silk, and paper. Faris is thinking about classifying these materials into 2 groups. What do you think those groups are? Great! Let us see how he classified them. Faris classified the materials into 2 groups. They are natural materials and man-made materials. Let us talk about natural materials. What are natural materials? Natural materials are materials that we get from the nature that Allah created. These materials are found naturally on this earth and on plants, animals, and others. Plants provide us with natural materials such as wood, cotton, and straw. And we use these natural materials from plants in order to make many different things. We use wood to make furniture, we use cotton to make clothing, and we use straw to make hats and baskets. Animals provide us with wool, feathers, silk, and leather. We use these natural materials we get from animals in order to make many different things. We use wool to make clothes and blankets. We use feathers to make pillows. We use silk to make strings. And we use leather to make purses and shoes and much more. The earth provides us with many natural materials such as sand, stone, mud, and metals. We use these natural materials that the earth provides us in order to make many different things. We use sand in gardens and playgrounds. We use stone and mud for buildings, and metals for jewelry and household items. Man-made materials. Now, what are man-made materials? Man-made materials are materials humans make using natural materials in order to create something new. Some examples are glass, paper, and plastic. These materials were made by humans by changing natural materials into man-made materials. We get the wood from trees. However, scientists were able to find a way to transform this wood into the paper we use to write on. Scientists have also been able to transform sand into glass. There is a material known as ivory, and we get this from elephants. Have you seen an elephant's husks? Well, hunters take the husks, and from them they make the handles for swords and daggers. Great job, kids! Let's go over what we learned today. Some materials are found naturally in the environment around us. And natural materials include stone, wood, wool, feathers, and leather. We also learned that some materials are made from natural materials. And man-made materials include plastic, glass, and paper.
Now grade 1. We saw that Faris classified materials into 2 main groups, natural materials and man-made materials. But what is the meaning of materials? Materials are anything used to make and build things. We can hear next that these are some objects that's made up of materials. Let's take the cans for examples. They are made up of metal, and metal is a natural or man-made material. What do you think, grade 1? Yes, excellent. Metal is a natural material. Here, these different shaped cups are made up of what? Excellent, plastic. And plastic is a man-made material or natural material? Yes, great job. It's a man-made material. Now grade 1. You have materials all around you. So now I want to ask you to bring your pencil, please. We will see which materials are made that made the pencil. So let's see. Please. Yes, repeat after me. The first material is graphite. Say graphite. This is the graphite. It's a black material, and this is what makes the black color when we are writing. Number 2, wood. This is wood. Wood. So the wood is, what do you think? Natural material or man-made material? Natural material. Great job. Metal. Metal also is a natural material. Rubber. The rubber is what we use to erase our mistake, and it's a man-made material. Materials used in building construction. So we will take another example of materials like materials that they use to build the buildings. Like they use, for example, brick, sand, plastic, cement, wood, concrete, glass, tiles. Now, let's see light and materials. Do you know that light passes through some materials like glass? So they can pass through it. But light doesn't pass through other materials like wood. So, grade 1. Do you want to explore the interaction of light and different materials? And do you want to know other materials that allow the light to pass through them? And which materials don't allow the light to pass through them? So, I want to ask you now to open your book on page 24. We will do this activity, inquiry activity. Its name is Explore Light. I'll leave you with the activity. Please pay attention. After the video, we will write our observations, so pay attention.
In this activity, you'll observe what happens when light shines on different types of materials. To investigate the way light interacts with different materials, you'll use a flashlight, foil, plastic wrap, and wax paper. Have you ever noticed how light seems to pass through some things and not others? Have you ever wondered why? In a few moments, you'll observe light interacting with foil, plastic wrap, and wax paper. Before you begin, make a prediction. What objects do you think light will go through? Later in the lesson, we will test aluminum foil, wax paper, and plastic wrap. Take a moment to share your predictions with your classmates. Then select Continue. Observe what happens as the flashlight shines on each material. Your role as a scientist is to observe carefully. First, look at your data table. Listed on the left side are the materials that are being tested. On the right side of the table is where you'll write or draw your observations. Select Foil to watch what happens when a flashlight shines on aluminum foil. What happened? Did the light pass through the aluminum foil? Record your observations in the table. When ready, select Next. Next, select wax paper to observe what happens when light shines on wax paper. What happened? Did the wax paper block the light from the flashlight? Record your observations in the table. When ready, select Next. Now, select plastic wrap to observe what happens when a flashlight shines on that material. What happened this time? Record your observations in the table. When ready, select Continue. You've probably noticed that there are 2 empty rows in your data table. You'll be able to fill these areas in shortly. You are going to observe how light interacts with 5 more objects. These are a water bottle, a paper plate, a safety glove, a sponge, and a piece of cardboard. Choose 2 of these objects and write the names in your data table. When ready, select Continue. Now, let's check out what will happen when light shines on these other objects. Watch as the rest of the objects are tested. Think about what happens to the light when it shines on these objects. To start the video, select anywhere inside the red rectangle. Here you see the light interacting with a water bottle. What do you observe? Look at how the light interacts with the paper plate. Can you tell the light is on when it's behind the paper plate? Here you're observing light interacting with the safety glove. What do you see? Now the flashlight is shining on a sponge. What do you observe? Here you see the light interacting with a piece of cardboard. What do you see?
So grade 1, let's write down our observations. So the materials, let's start with the first material, foil. So we notice that no light passed through the foil. Wax paper. Yes, some light passed through the wax paper. Plastic wrap. The most light traveled through the plastic paper. The plastic wrap. So now grade 1. I want to ask you to go directly to video number 2. So part 2 from this lesson. I'll see you there inshallah. Goodbye.